The internet has been closely watching Gypsy Rose Blanchard ever since her early release from prison, with many rooting for her fresh start. But in the past few weeks, the image she's crafted as a new wife and mother has started to crack, and what's slipping through the surface is deeply unsettling. Fans and critics alike aren't just expressing concern anymore, they're alarmed. Because what's playing out on Gypsy's live streams and TikToks isn't speculation, it's not hearsay. It's coming straight from her own content, and it's painting a disturbing picture of a mother who seems increasingly disconnected from the cries of her own child. It all came to a head during a recent live stream, where Gypsy gave followers a tour of her and Ken's bedroom, not as a fun peek into her home life, but in what appeared to be an effort to silence growing rumors that she and her husband were living separately. Her tone was defensive, her focus laser-locked on appearances. But while she was pointing out pillows and decor, something else could be heard loud and clear in the background: her newborn daughter, Aurora, wailing.
Bedroom, and then of course we have a sliding glass door that goes out to the patio and our dream catcher. Parker sleeps there, so he sleeps in the room. I don't like Parker sleeping on the bed because he is a long-haired German Shepherd Husky mix. So anyway, he has his own bed. So this is our bedroom. So cute.
And not just a faint whimper. This was full-volume crying, the kind of sound that any parent would react to immediately. Yet Gypsy didn't even blink. There was no moment of, "Hold on, let me check on her," or even a glance in the direction of the noise. She continued with the tour, even stopping at one point to laugh and comment on Ken's dog's bed. The contrast between her bubbly tone and the heart-wrenching cries echoing behind her was hard to ignore, and for many, impossible to forgive. What struck viewers most wasn't just the crying. It was the complete emotional detachment. The way Gypsy tuned out the very real needs of her baby to keep a live stream going raised red flags everywhere. People weren't just wondering why the baby was crying, they were asking how a mother could seem so unmoved, so uninterested, while her infant was clearly in distress. And the situation only gets more concerning the more you look. This isn't the first time this has happened, not by a long shot. Followers have documented multiple streams where Aurora can be heard crying, sometimes for long stretches, while Gypsy is more focused on lighting, angles, or reading comment sections. And what makes it feel even more performative? A very visible sign in her home that reads, "Don't let the baby cry it out." A nice sentiment, sure, but based on what's been shown publicly, it's little more than decor.
She's not happy. She just wants you to hold her.
Even more troubling is a now infamous video Gypsy posted where she's holding Aurora, who is screaming, visibly uncomfortable, possibly in pain, and instead of comforting her, she starts filming. She opens with a caption about day 3 of colic, like it's a quirky vlog update, but the moment captured is raw and painful. Aurora isn't fussy, she's inconsolable. And Gypsy's choice to hit record rather than soothe her child is what made viewers' hearts drop. This isn't about judging a mother for having a rough day. Every parent has moments of struggle. But what's being documented over and over isn't a single bad call, it's a repeated, consistent pattern, one where social media engagement appears to take precedence over a newborn's basic needs. And if this is how she behaves with the world watching, it's chilling to imagine how little concern might be shown when the cameras are off. More than a few people have begun questioning how someone so seemingly disconnected from their own child's distress is in full custody. The hope that Gypsy had turned a page post-incarceration is beginning to fade as reality sets in, because no matter how much she tries to project control or deny the backlash, the one thing she can't silence is the sound of her baby crying, and her refusal to respond to it. There's no way to excuse what viewers have been witnessing. With each new livestream or TikTok post, it's becoming painfully clear, Gypsy Rose Blanchard appears to be prioritizing online validation over the most basic responsibilities of motherhood. What started as curiosity around her life post-prison has turned into a disturbing case study in what not to do as a parent. One moment in particular has stuck with people, not because it was shocking in the usual internet sense, but because it was so deeply unsettling. While her newborn daughter Aurora cried, clearly in distress, Gypsy didn't offer comfort. She didn't even acknowledge the sound. Instead, she propped up her phone, adjusted her camera angle, checked her lighting, and started filming. As her baby cried out, Gypsy's focus was on how the video would look, not on the child who needed her. Think about that. Aurora was likely in pain, overwhelmed, or scared, doing what babies do to communicate when they need help, and the one person she should be able to rely on chose to perform for an audience. There wasn't a moment of hesitation, no maternal instinct to step in. Just content creation. And then came the parenting Q&A video, the one that really sent people over the edge. Gypsy and her husband Ken sat together, smiling into the camera, offering advice and sharing how they plan to raise Aurora. They spoke as if they were model parents. But right in the middle of their conversation, Aurora began crying again, loud and long enough for anyone watching to feel uncomfortable. And still, nothing. Neither parent paused. Neither turned their head. It wasn't until the baby's crying became so forceful that her little voice cracked with desperation that one of them finally moved. And even then, the urgency wasn't there. The tone didn't change. The concern wasn't visible. It was like they were annoyed at being interrupted, not alarmed by their child's distress. The whole thing felt surreal, like watching a scripted show where the actors forgot there was a baby in the room. Only this wasn't fiction. This was real life. And that baby? She's real too, and she's depending on adults who, by all appearances, seem more invested in audience reaction than in her needs. What makes it even more confusing, and honestly infuriating, is the frequency with which this happens. The crying isn't rare or occasional. It happens during almost every live stream. Every video seems to feature Aurora upset while Gypsy is laser-focused on herself, her phone, or whoever she's responding to in the comments. At this point, it doesn't feel accidental. That's where a lot of people have started asking tough questions. Is this incompetence, or is it manipulation? Is Gypsy knowingly letting these moments play out because they generate engagement? The more shocking the footage, the more it gets shared. Even outrage brings traffic. The comments pile in, the algorithm rewards activity, and the views go up. Is that the goal? If that's the case, it's chilling. But even more disturbing is the alternative, that she doesn't see anything wrong with it. That the lack of response, the absent instinct, the failure to protect, that all of this is just normal for her. If this is genuinely how she approaches motherhood, then Aurora is not just at risk, she's living in a dangerous environment. And it's not just about ignored cries or Q&A's gone wrong. There have been moments that go beyond negligence and into recklessness. Take, for example, the widely shared clip of Aurora in her car seat. The straps were completely loose, the chest clip not even fastened properly. It looked like someone had just draped the seatbelt over her for the sake of appearances, not for her safety. Any parent knows this isn't optional. This is one of the most fundamental, non-negotiable parts of infant care, and Gypsy didn't just fail to do it, she posted it. That's what makes all of this harder to dismiss. These aren't one-off mistakes or overwhelmed parent moments. They're consistent behaviors that show a troubling pattern. And if this is what Gypsy is showing publicly, willingly, proudly, then what's happening behind closed doors? When there are no cameras, no followers, no digital applause. This goes beyond irresponsible. It's the kind of carelessness that could cost a life. Not long ago, Gypsy Rose posted a video of her baby, Aurora, in a car seat, but anyone paying attention saw the horrifying truth. The straps weren't secured properly. The chest clip was either missing or completely out of place. The harness was loose. In short, Aurora wasn't buckled in at all. If an accident had happened, even a minor one, that baby could have been thrown from the seat, launched. That's not exaggeration. That's what happens in real-world crashes when infants aren't restrained correctly. And instead of showing an ounce of accountability, Gypsy did what she always seems to do, hopped back online and posted a feel-good moment. A picture of her laying down, baby on her chest, smiling peacefully. The caption? Just one word, blessed. But this wasn't a heartwarming family snapshot. It was a dangerous scene, and anyone who knows anything about infant safety could see it immediately. Falling asleep with a newborn on your chest, especially on a soft surface, is a serious suffocation risk. It's a known cause of infant death. This isn't fear-mongering. It's medical fact. Even Ken, her husband, has told her this to her face. On camera. He warned her not to sleep with Aurora like that. He was visibly frustrated when she tried to deny it. He flat out said, "You did it last night. Don't lie." That moment was caught in 4K, and yet, what happened next? Nothing changed. She kept doing it. Filming. Posting. Smiling. Performing for TikTok while ignoring the most basic rules of infant safety. What's even more troubling is that we're now over 6 months into Aurora's life, 6 months. That's half a year of motherhood, and the maternal connection still doesn't seem to be there. Most mothers would, by now, be deeply tuned into their baby's needs, able to sense a whimper, ready to respond to every cry. But Gypsy shows no urgency, no emotional shift when her daughter is crying. No instinct to comfort, to protect, to prioritize. It's like there's a wall between her and the baby, one she either can't recognize or refuses to break down. Those first 6 months are everything. That's when babies learn who they can trust. It's when their sense of safety begins. And if that window is missed, if a parent isn't emotionally present, if cries go unanswered, it's not just unfortunate. It's developmental damage. It shapes how a child views the world, how they attach, how they grow. These are the consequences we're talking about, and they are very real. But Gypsy doesn't seem to see it, or worse, she doesn't care. Because again and again, she chooses content over care. She chooses engagement over awareness. She responds to comments before she responds to her own child's cries. There's no growth. No adjustment. No sign she's taking any of this seriously. And here's the most painful part, Aurora can't tell us what's going on. She can't speak up. She can't explain what happens after the camera shuts off. She can't say, "Mom isn't listening," or, "I'm not okay." But we can. We see it. And staying silent would mean becoming complicit. So now the question hangs in the air, is this just someone out of her depth? Or is there something even more deliberate happening, a twisted attempt to gain attention through outrage? Because it's hard not to notice how every single post seems to feature something dangerous, reckless, or just outright wrong. At a certain point, it stops feeling like coincidence. Whether it's ignorance or intention, the result is the same, a baby is not being protected. Not being prioritized. And the person who should be fighting for her safety is instead fighting for social media relevance. So say what needs to be said. Is this just naive parenting gone wrong? Or is it calculated controversy at the expense of a child? Either way, it's unacceptable, and it's far from over.